Hello everybody. I'm going to do a little bit of just some tiny maintenance. Here's a little Shao Kahn. Hey bud, it's my Dumeral's boa. He is always very eager to get out. Yeah, I see you, buddy. Nah, change everybody's water here real quick. The boas I can kind of trust. Whee! Leave them alone. So I got some water running here so that it's nice and cold. I like to try and change their water every day just to make sure that they always have fresh and cold water, especially as everything's real hot. I don't necessarily recommend leaving a snake's enclosure open like this, but I know my boas are rather slow moving, and even if he were to get out, I'd be able to find him. Later, bud. Whee! Here is Dutch. Somewhere in there is Dutch. Looks like he might be going into shed. That is my common boa imperator. He's a hypo motley. It's the same thing. I'm going to change his little water dish here. This won't be the most exciting video we do. Now I would say about every 2 days when I change the water. I do like to kind of scrub these out just to make sure there's not a lot of bacteria hitting on them. But for today I just want to get them something cool. So there's the boas. And up above them I've got a couple pythons. This rack is not secured on that, so I want to make sure. Okay, how you doing, girl? So I'm just going to kind of make sure she didn't pee or anything, but the only mess in here is just the way she likes to trash that enclosure. And same thing. She's a little more finicky in liking her humidity and just the way that rack is set up, so I always give her a little bit of a bigger water dish. In the winter time, the boas also get a water dish about this size to go along with those little tiny ones that you saw me replace there, the little deli cups. But right now the ambient humidity is kind of enough just to give them the needs that they both need. So I'll get her back here. I'm actually making a custom rack for her right now because she's a little big for this one, and I think that's part of why she ends up trashing the place until she finally feels settled down. Alright, so next what we're going to do is a little cleaning video for my little boy here. So what he's done, he hasn't peed or anything, at least from what I can tell. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Can't smell it. That's usually the big indication. You'll smell if an animal pees. However, what he's done is, at a certain point, either just put the paper in here, there's a little bug in there, or they'll splash in their bowl and then just get the whole bloody thing wrecked. So I'm going to take this whole thing out. Come on, buddy. I'll go over how I like to clean a tub. So I would do this whether he made a mess just like he did today, or even if he did go to the bathroom. It's alright, bud. So again, got towels. Here's my cleaning solution, which is a mixture of water and chlorhexidine, which I get right at Tractor Supply. It's a veterinary disinfectant. Put that down to the side. Yeah, hi bud. You're in a video. Come on out, buddy. So for him, he's super sweet, super tame, but I would not let him just chill on the couch while I cleaned. The boas, I can kind of let them do that because they'll just kind of plod and explore, or the Dumeral's boa just likes to sit. But my pythons, they hide. So the two of them basically know right how to get into the couch. So what I do, and it seems mean, but it kind of helps keep them contained and they feel secure. I got a couple pillowcases here. Woo! And I'm just going to gently plop little Kirk here. Bye, bud. Down into the pillowcase. And then I kind of set him down onto the couch so that he feels like he can let go of me while he's in there. Hey, buddy. Not the greatest demonstration here because he's already got himself out, so I'm just gonna slide him down a little bit. Bonk. And then I kind of just twist it up a little bit, give it a little anchor so that I know he's not gonna pop out. Alright, now like I said, even if this wasn't just water, which it seems to be, I do the same thing. My initial spray. Grab a little bit of paper towel here. Just kind of mix it around the tub. And that's kind of the rinse. Right, because the tub is still kind of wet and soaked. Now, they say a lot of times for this chlorhexidine solution to let it sit for like 5-15 minutes. I usually have found that just kind of good scrubbing and rubbing in like this does well enough for me. My animals have never gotten sick. You can definitely smell a nice, clean, fresh tub. There's never been any leftover scents from them ever going to the bathroom. But if you wanted to keep your animal out and let it sink in, that definitely wouldn't hurt. So now after kind of that scrub, now I've got the tub all dry. There we go. This thing's reading 99% because it's been sitting in there. I have these little Accurites. I both like and dislike these. I mostly really have them to read ambient temperature. Humidity-wise, I find the hygrometer's not really all that accurate often. It gives me an idea from when humidity is spiking and dropping at the very least, but I mostly have it just to let me know what ambient temperatures are. Otherwise, temperatures, I check surface temperatures with a nice little infrared temp gun. So, kind of do that there. What I do too with these is I make sure that I take the little springboard clip off of these. So the snakes are going to knock them around and stuff, but there's nothing that's now attached to these that they can get themselves hurt on. And so what I like to do for my python tubs is I'll take 1, 2, for this one it's a little smaller, so I take 3 sheets of paper towel. Cover just about the surface, and I'm going to do another one. 1, 2, 3. Good. And then my substrate of choice is packing paper, which is essentially unprinted newspaper. So on his, just kind of lay it over the top, push it in. It's a little mess, but it doesn't have to be neat. What I do is just try and kind of fold it. And this just makes it so that, you know, the next time he either makes a mess or, you know, if he pees or poops or whatever he's going to do, that it's a lot easier to kind of clean up. There's a lot of stuff absorbing the mess. It's not soaking so much into the tub. I'll grab this little hide. And that'll be over in the back. And then for him, I have, let's see. Right now I've only got his heat set to 85, just because it's so bloody hot. We've had a heat wave that he doesn't really need it. He's been hanging out on the cool end anyway. So that's providing enough of ambient temperature and even a hot spot for him. When it cools down a little bit, I usually set that more to like 90, and between the heat tape going through the tub and, well, let's get him a little more water here, going through the tub and then going through both of the layers of paper there, that usually also provides a, we'll call it a basking spot, but provides a hot surface temperature of also around, let's say high 80s, 90, so anywhere from like 87 to 90. And that's about what I like for my ball pythons. Alright, and so he's pretty much ready to go back. Now this would have taken maybe a little bit longer if he had actually peed. He doesn't seem to go to the bathroom that often. My female ball python, she seems to pee more than any of my other snakes. This rack is real nice. It has kind of these little slides here where it can kind of sit in on. Like I said, we'll just kind of set that all up. Give him a little bit of water here. I'm gonna push this in just a little bit, and I'm gonna go get him. And there's our first video. This was a little haphazard, but just some basic maintenance. Like I said, kind of my standard way for dealing with my ball pythons when they make a mess. Pillowcase works. I also have a large tub that I'll put the boas in if I really need to, or sometimes even the bigger ball. Come on out, buddy. You're okay. I gotcha. Hey, little guy. He's super sweet. I haven't gotten a super good feel for my short-tailed python yet, but right now this guy and my boa imperator are tied for probably my sweetest snakes, calmest, most docile snakes. As a ball python, he can still be a little skittish sometimes, but overall he's very good with handling. Never hissed, never bit. I can't say the same for my other ball. She's generally very sweet too, but she's definitely given me some hisses, tried to bite me as a baby. Alright, cool. Well, there we go. There's a little bit of easy snake maintenance to start off. They're all going to get fed later. Hope you enjoyed. Alright, I'm going to try a little part 2, apparently, to this cleaning video, because after I gave him some new water, my boa, Dutch, spilled it everywhere. So same thing. Luckily we're not cleaning any pee or anything here, just messy bedding. So I'll pull this out. Dutch is over there. Oops. He's pretty chill once you kind of leave him on the couch, so hopefully he won't get into too much trouble. Otherwise I'm going to have to stick him in the bin, and he does not like that. So anyway, this is a Freedom Breeder 90 as far as what these tubs are, these racks. Most of these came from TGR. This one's from Herptastic Reptiles. TGR is unfortunately out of business because these were great racks. But this is a huge tub. I love them. They're good for probably a small male boa, maybe a blood python. I've got a Sumatran short tail that'll probably end up putting in one of these, hopefully when she grows up. But I would say larger end of boa constrictor, female boa, stuff like that, you'd want something a little bigger. But these are huge. They have a ton of room. I love them. I don't want to get too much into the whole debate on snakes in tubs versus cages versus tanks versus all that kind of stuff. I did used to have my boas in PVC caging, including my Dumerals boa and this guy here, and even this ball python in that little rack. But a couple of my snakes, they just really weren't having it in the PVC caging, and they're all doing much better in this rack system. So for me, it's more like whatever works, whatever the animal's doing best in. So here's how I like to do this. This is pretty simple. So same thing, I use packing paper as my bedding. And what I do, I kind of almost regret getting the ones that have these little deli cup holders in the middle, because it makes it kind of a pain just to set up the bedding. At first I thought it would be a really cool addition, but now I kind of would rather just stick an external water bowl in there and be done with it rather than do all this. But it's not that bad. So I stick one sheet down, then I kind of find out where that deli cup holder is, and I go ahead, cut just past it. Same thing on the next side. Good. And I get that kind of flat back like so. And I'm just gonna cut this little piece of paper off here. It's always a lot of fun trying to do this stuff one-handed. Boom. There you go. So now that kind of fits nicely around there. And for the second sheet, now I could cut these in half and save paper, but I just fold it in half. Packing paper is pretty cheap. I essentially do the same thing, only with a smaller sheet. What I like too is having this paper here folded in half over by the cooler end. Allows them to kind of burrow if they want. Let's double check on him. He's still doing okay over there. They can be covered by a dual kind of layer of this paper. They can sit under it, and they can go cool down on the cool end. And then where I need the hot spot to be, there's only one layer of this paper, so I know the heat tape is getting not just through this tub, but it's not trying to get through a giant layer of substrate or even just 2 layers of paper. I don't have to usually leave my thermostat set too high. So again, even for the boas, for them to get a hot spot of 90, I usually don't have to put the thermostats too much past 90. Boom, and then there you go. I'll do that. This hide should fit him for a while. I have the same size hide for my Dumerals boa, and he's a good 5.5 feet. He's 6 years old, pretty thick. He's kind of small for an adult Dumerals boa, but either way, he's an adult. So I'm hoping he'll never need anything bigger than this tub. We'll see if Dutch, the common boa, needs bigger than this tub, but ideally he shouldn't. Hopefully if he hits around maybe 6 feet, he should be able to stay in there. Right now he's about 4.5. He's long, but he's not too thick. Hey, buddy. He is probably my calmest snake. He kind of will freak out a little bit when you pick him up, just because he really likes to make sure he's got a hold of you. But as far as just being really tolerant, you know, you never see him breathing heavily, you never see him in a defensive posture. Tongue flicks are always curious, his demeanor is always curious. He's only ever hissed twice in his life, and that was when he had to get a mouth exam from the vet. He had kind of chipped his tooth while he was eating, and he had a swollen gum. And even then, his hiss was so pathetic and barely audible. And by the 3rd time he had his mouth pried open, he just kind of accepted that that was going to be how it was. But he's just the calmest, chillest snake. I couldn't have asked for a better boa. Now, the only pain in the butt part with him is getting him back. So So let's see if we can get him back in here without a fight. Yep, there you go. There you go. Good boy. Yeah, that was as easy as it's ever been. Later, buddy.